It's one thing to organize competitions. It's another thing for scouts to be there to say, this is a likable or
Athletes.
a potential medalist. But these days, we just see competitions being organized and there are no scouts. But when it's football, you see all the scouts. I mean, scouts from the federal level coming down to each state and monitoring what is going on.
We don't even need scouts from the federal level. There are individuals. Let me give a very good example. In Côte d'Ivoire, there are individuals who take up interest in certain young ones, athletes, and recommend them to the federation. What is actually killing us in this particular country is centered interest, self-interest. We want to get everything. If you actually want to progress as a nation, we must ensure this issue of is mine. It should be for us all.
Yeah.
Now, you're talking about scouts. There are scouts for athletes. I remember Coach Tony Robo used to go around schools, pick young ones, bring them to stadium, put up program for them.
Yeah.
That is what we should be doing. People who can recommend young ones to the ministries, to agencies, and we can move on from there. If you're waiting for the ministry to send scout out, we're never going to get there.
So when these people are recommended, are they actually picked?
A lot of people don't know that we have national coaches for each of these federations.
Yeah.
There are national coaches attached to them. The duty of these national coaches is to develop these young ones that are recommended to them. But because we're so much egocentric, we're so full of ourselves, we feel that if it's not Europe, nothing happens. Nobody wants to come out. A good example before you go on, in South Africa, there's a new policy. Every athlete would not go out there in Europe to train. Everything in South Africa. The question becomes, they have it. We can also have it here.
They have the facilities.
We can also have it here.
When are we going to have it?
If we're sincere with sports development, we can have it. I am telling you the truth. Lagos State decided to go into a lot of partnering and a lot of events, the Target Classic. It's as a result of looking into the future. And believe me, by the time athletes begin to represent Lagos State, the issue of poaching will stop.
A thing of the past. Yeah, poaching still happens to be a big problem in the country because the highest bidder takes
Gets it all.
gets it all. And we'll hope that that will not be recorded in our history.
But don't forget that
2014.
it's been thrown open. Be you a professional or an amateur athlete, you cannot compete in the National Sports Festival.
Sports Festival. And is that a good sign?
Yes, it is. It will breed competition. A lot of these amateur athletes, permit me to use that word, feels that it is their bedrock, it's their ground, so they can do anything. And when you have somebody who calls himself a professional competing against you, it brings out the best in you. You want to tell him you're as good as himself or herself.
Okay. Now we have talked about some sporting events and how they fared in 2013. But there's this thing we have not talked about, and it's what some, I won't say most athletes, they do. When you talk over weightlifters, they are always, you know what I'm talking about, steroids. Yes, yes. Have we had any serious issues in the outgoing year 2013?
Well, the only issue that comes to mind right now is, what's her name right now? She did apologize. She failed to undertake a test, and she became a suspect.
Okay.
And she complained that she had fatigue. But I think, by and large, the Nigerian scenario sports-wise has been free of drugs compared to other nations. Very, very free.
So, generally speaking now, 2014, it should be completely wiped out.
Well, you can't take away drugs from sports. That's the truth. Because there are some favored athletes that top officials want to conceal for benefits of 1 or 2 gains along the line, and that's not proper. So you can't take away drugs from athletics or from sports generally.
Okay. All right. Thank you for coming on the program.
It's been a pleasure.
Nitty Gritty. It's so good having seasoned minds, you know, talking on events that's been happening in the country. But before we go, let's go back to athletics. Apart from abysmal performance in 2012,
London Olympics.
That's talking about the able-bodied athletes.
Yeah.
The Paralympians made us proud.
They did well.
Okay, and 2014 2013 outgoing year has also recorded some deaths in the sports industry. I think earlier in the year, Thompson Oliha passed on. Then one of the Paralympians in London 2012, also Onalakbo Joy, also passed on, and some others. These people have passed on. But what do you think the nation, haven't paid their dues? What do you think, should be done to the family so that others will want to have a mind to say, I want to do this for my country. When I'm no more, my family will still enjoy what I have done?
Well, I must be honest with you. One of the biggest problems we have in this country is recognition when it comes to the issue of sportsmen and women. They're not given the accolades they deserve. They're not given the recognition they deserve. A good example is that of Samuel Okparaji. This is one man who paid his flight ticket, did so much to serve this nation. And when he slumped and died, it took so much plead to have his statue erected at the National Stadium there. I honestly believe that what is worth doing well is worth doing well. For anybody who has served his country, like the Nigerian Army, they ensure that every year they carry out the Remembrance Day in recognition of the fallen heroes who have served this country. There should be a time where we should all come together and acknowledge that aside the military, there are people who are actually serving this country, like doctors, nurses, yourself and myself, in our various duty. These sportsmen, this is all they have. They don't have any other field. And when you don that green, white, green on, it means you are totally a soldier in the sporting field. They should be given the due honor. If you don't want to immortalize them, pick the children, give them scholarship. If you don't want to do that, put up something that people can remember that these people actually did this, and this is why we're giving them this honor. It's been appalling generally when it comes to recognition of sportsmen in this country. And I just hope that the ministry will wake up to its duties.
Okay, we'll now take a look at handball and badminton and a not so popular sports, netball. Handball in the outgoing year, nothing. Badminton, nothing. Apart from what Lagos State usually, I think quarterly, they organize a badminton
And there was a time
event.
a bank used to have a competition. I don't want to mention the bank name. Suddenly it has died off.
Why do things just come up and go effervescent? Why is it like that?
Because we don't have a projection for the future. If you're planning is in three phases: the short term, the medium term, and the long term. Now, when you just put up a project and it's for the short term, and you don't have a projection for a futuristic event, it will die off. And the reason why, go to National Stadium, the badminton court is just there, having grasses and all kind of animals having a field day. So if you don't project for the future, it will die off. And some of these ball games, in the 80s, in the 70s, even in the 90s, they were thriving. But because we suddenly shifted our focus from these games that are, one, relaxing games, they are games that help to develop your mental ability, we concentrated on football and
to the detriment of
these games. And it's not the best. It's not the best.
Okay, Princewill, one last word before we go. For 2014, the sports generally, what should we do to get it perfect? We've been trying to make it right, but let's say near perfect, if not to perfection.
Two things. One, go back to the grassroots. I'm happy that the School Sports Federation just finished up a competition in Lorry, which was fantastic. Go back to the grassroots. Then and two, seek for sincere partners that can help, because you need money to grow sports. If we put up these two, we'll get there.
So we hope that in 2014 we'll get the best results in all the sports in this country, because we have the talents. They are bound, about 160 million Nigerians. We have so many of them that we can pick from the grassroots and get to the level that we want them to get to. And of course, Nigeria will become a force to be reckoned with in sports in the world. Princewill, thank you for coming.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, and that's been Nitty Gritty for today. Have yourself a lovely day. Bye.